Hey, welcome to Coaching with AD. Today I'm going to talk about coronavirus, its impact on our lives, our livelihoods, and of course, the great recession that it is going to bring into our life. This is the biggest disruption that has happened in our lifetime. There are other disruptions that also happened prior to this, but this disruption is the most important and highly impactful to all of us because it is going to impact our lives and our livelihoods. I'm going to share some examples of the disruptions that has happened and how they have impacted us in our lives and in our business.
Under a great deal of pressure this morning. Dick Full, a 39-year veteran of Lehman and the longest-running CEO of a major investment bank on Wall Street, has pulled the firm back from the brink during...
The heavy human cost of the coronavirus pandemic is laid out in the latest official figures. They show that in the week ending the 10th of April, the number of deaths in England and Wales was double the level normally expected, and the...
So all these disruptions lead to huge impact. I would say unthinkable impact. Now this impact could be in the form of our business, it can be on our livelihoods, it can be on our jobs, or it will also decrease or deplete the confidence of the consumer to step out of their house. Whether it is because of infection, whether it is because of pandemic which is spreading like crazy. It's like a burning fire. So today we are living in a world which is highly interconnected. Thanks to all the technology, all the advancements that we have made and the changes that has brought this into effect. And because of this high interconnection, you are going to see a huge and more number of disruptions in the coming years. A small disruption in the small city can impact the whole world. So this coronavirus at Wuhan, a small city in China, has now impacted the world. And we are not going to be surprised as many more disruptions are waiting to happen. So it's a high time that we need to wake up to this new change or a new way of life. So after going into various reports from various economists, articles from various politicians and analysts, what I have realized and analyzed is that there are three ways of recoveries they are suggesting. One is called V-shape, which means that when the lockdowns get over globally, when we go back to our normal life, in the next 3 to 6 months, things will start shaping up and coming back to the original form, which is least likely. The second suggestion that is coming out is that it will take a U-turn, which means that the normal life, the life which we have already left in the past, might come back from a period of 6 months to a few years, maybe 2 to 3 years from now. This is one of the most likeliest scenario that we might see. And the third one is the L-shaped recovery. And this L-shaped recovery is nothing but it is moving towards the worst recession in our lifetime in a century, which is likely to happen. And if it happens, it is going to take a huge impact on our lives and on our livelihoods. Only in India, there are more than 200 million jobs are going to be at risk. And this recession is going to remain for decades to come. So this is the worst case scenario where every politician, every economist and every analyst is fearing about.
International Labour Organization on the impact of COVID-19 on the global workforce. The UN body estimates that some 1.25 billion workers are seeing their livelihoods threatened by the pandemic. Around 81% of the world's 3.3 billion workers are already affected by full or partial workplace closures. That's 4 in every 5 people. The key sectors most likely to feel the greatest economic fallout include retail and manufacturing, and the Americas is set to suffer the greatest shock to the labour market, with 43% of employees in high-risk sectors, followed by Europe at 42%.
Now, one of the most impactful thing of any recession is the loss of jobs, the loss of business. And we all know that this is not pertaining to one country, it is pertaining to the entire world. Now, if you go back in the month of March, since March, what has happened? In most of the companies, whether it is small, medium, large, Indian, or a multinational company, people have been sacked. People have lost their jobs because companies were very clearly seeing that the lockdowns are going to be more frequent and they are going to be longer. So they knew that they would not be able to sustain people. So people were sacked. Number two action that they told people that you need to go on indefinite leaves, which means they have no idea about when they will come back to jobs. And the third thing is where people were retained, they were very clearly told that you have to take pay cuts. And these pay cuts could range from 25% to 80% depending on your position, designation, and role in the company. Look at the impact that it is creating. And in the recent survey of 200 CEOs by CII has clearly stated that anywhere between 15 to 30% would be the range of attrition overall in India in Indian organizations, which is going to be huge. It is looking at a number of anything between 100 to 200 million in India alone. So look at the impact. Even the IMF body has said that an average worker in any organization, they have to go into a very simple lifestyle. So we are looming into a very big impact of recession, and it's high time that we need to think about our plan B and our plan C. What is it that am I going to do if I lose my job, or what is it that I can do to, at least if I have to retain my job, what are the actions that I need to take? You can look into various reports, and this report will speak little more.
2008, 2009, we lost something like 22 million jobs around the world. Our forecast for the next 3 months, for the second quarter of the year, is that we're going to lose the equivalent of 195 million jobs around the world. So this is a complete job catastrophe. But I suppose in a world where 4 out of every 5 workers are living in countries under total or partial lockdown, it shouldn't come as a total surprise that we're in this territory.
Now that we have entered into this scenario, whether we like it or we don't like it, we have to face it, which means that now we have to prepare for the coronavirus outfall. How do we get into a new job, or do I have to start a new career? We have to really take a deep thinking about plan B or plan C, because the scenario is that every day is bringing a lot of uncertainty. Every breaking news is going to give a new twist to the whole situation that you don't know from where to start. And our human mind is wired in such a way that we overestimate the threats and we underestimate the opportunities. So this is the time we really need to focus on what exactly we want, because sometimes the problem is not that grave, but our mind makes us to think so. So I'm going to give you an action plan. There are some 5 action plans that I can suggest that you can work out when you have to make new choices. Number 1, come in terms with the situation and prepare for the worst. First and foremost is you need to arrange your funds. You need to understand that what are your extra costs, because if you're out of job, first thing that you need to do is you need to save cost. So you need to arrange the funds for the bad days for at least next 6 months to 1 year, and you need to cut down certain costs, maybe your cable cost, maybe your Netflix cost, and any other extra club fee or any additional fee that you are paying. You need to immediately cut that down and bring expenses only for those areas which are must and necessary, and that is your food and shelter. Cut down any loans, pay all loans as possible if you have sufficient funds with you. Number 2, focus on the company that you want to work in and not the job. Because what happens is, in the excitement of getting into the job, you might be applying for any job that is available, which is not the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it is that first you focus on those 5 or 15 companies that you always wanted to work upon. Now, once you enter into those, so apply, first of all, apply for those companies and try to enter into those companies as fast as possible, because at this point of time, the third strategy is don't worry about the job title, put your foot into the company, because you may not be entitled for the same designation or the same salary that you were getting in the past. You need to first get into the job. Whatever the title that you get, it's very important to get into the work, because that will bring you inside the work scenario. That is the first and the most important thing for you. Third is, and the fourth is, make use of established network. Now, here I would like to say that don't go to your friends or the network that you are already in, because the amount of information which you have is also likely that they also have the same amount of information in terms of the job availability and the risk involved in various companies. So you need to go a little bit extra and out of the way and take help of LinkedIn, where you would have built a lot of contacts. Write them out. You never know who will surprise you back with a job option or an opportunity that they can refer to. So go out of your current network and find out and take help from the new network that you have. And the last step, one of the very important step, is rebuild, reshape your resume and update and rebuild, rewrite your LinkedIn profile right away. Because at this point of time, when you add new skills, when you add and update your LinkedIn profile with the new skills that you have, that you are more able to execute things in different roles, in different companies, in different scenarios, you might be surprised that you will get a job call which is relevant to you. So think about these 5 strategies that I have told. It would be a great help to you in building up your job scenarios, coming out of those risk scenarios, and keeping your mind stable towards it. Because in the end, if you are not able to get into these actions, your mind will be fully stressed, and a stressed mind cannot think of solutions. So relax your mind, put all the priorities, make a list of the companies, make a list of your problems on paper, and then start prioritizing it based on the requirement. Because this pandemic is definitely very alarming, and if we don't prepare ourselves at this point of time, we will be left out with nothing in our hand. Because the government is not going to support us because they have their own limitation. It is we only who have to support us in the way we go ahead. So I look forward for your comments, feedbacks on this channel. If you like this entire presentation of how coronavirus is impacting our life, our jobs, and the recession that is stepping in, do share it with your friends. And if you subscribe this channel, I'm going to share a lot of more information and insights to you, and looking forward for your comments on this.